Hi, I'm Hannah McQueen, and my persuasive speech is on why classroom sizes should be kept small. Some say if you're a good teacher, the number of students in your class should not be a factor, according to a growing chorus of self-styled education reformers. Bill Gates said the nation could improve in education even in an era of extreme budget cuts by lifting caps on class sizes, by identifying a school's top teachers, asking them to take on more students, and then paying them more to do so. But more than 30 years of research shows that smaller class sizes are in fact better. Class size reduction is one of the only 4 evidence-based reforms that have been proven to increase student achievement. In other studies, they found that smaller classes can benefit all students in terms of individual, active attention from teachers, and that lower achieving students in particular can benefit from smaller classes at the high school level. In California, the state with the largest class sizes, research proves that smaller classes improve student learning among low-income students. In 2002, 5 of the state's largest school districts reported significant test score gains since the state's class size reduction program began in 1996. Third-grade test scores increased 14% in math and 9% in reading in schools with mostly low-income students. The classroom reduction program is still on the books, but in the ongoing budget crunch, districts have been given the ability to increase class sizes, and they've been creeping up in recent years. In the San Marcos Unified School District, for example, the class size program kept first and second grade classes to 20 students until the 2008-2009 school year. By next fall, however, there will be 32 kids in those classrooms, which is a 60% increase in just 3 years. In the district's middle and high schools, the ratio was increased by 1 or 2 students a year for the past 3 years. Now, some core subject teachers will have more than 40 kids crammed into their classrooms. Michael DeVries said this: "We've got 40 kids in an 8th grade algebra class, 38 in a 7th grade geography class, and 42 kids in a 6th grade history class. What I'm hearing from teachers is that it is much more difficult to be effective because they are forced to spend more time managing students than instructing them." The situation is made even worse with the widespread layoffs of support professionals. Now teachers can't rely on the help of aides to manage the huge class size on their own. Class size matters not only in early grades but at all levels. Although there have been no large-scale experimental studies for the middle and upper grades, there are numerous studies showing that smaller classes are correlated with achievement gains and/or dropout rates in the middle and upper grades as well. One comprehensive report done for the United States Department of Education analyzed the achievement levels of students in 2,561 schools across the country. After controlling for student background, the only objective factor found to be positively correlated with student performance was smaller classes, not school size or teacher qualifications, nor any other variable that the researchers could identify. Moreover, the student achievement was even more strongly linked to class size reduction in the upper grades than lower grades. 2 recent studies that show that class size matters even in college. One, from the University of Richmond, concluded that increasing class size to 30 students to 45 had a negative impact on the amount of critical and analytical thinking required in business classes, on the clarity of presentations, the effectiveness of teaching methods, the instructor's ability to keep students interested, and the timeless feedback, among many other key factors of educational quality. Another study from Italy found significantly lower achievement and smaller wages after graduation for college students, depending on how large their introductory lecture classes were. The effectiveness especially substantial for lower income and male students. Baseline results suggest that increasing class sizes by 20 students reduces a student's wage by approximately 6%. Given this estimate, it would be hard to dismiss class sizes reduction as an ineffective and inefficient policy. A fact, class size reduction does not lower the quality of teachers. Though reporters also found in California said teachers from disadvantaged schools fled when new positions opened up in other schools when class sizes were reduced. What the follow-up studies show is that after rising temporarily in all schools, teacher migration rates fell dramatically to much lower levels than before, most sharply in schools with large numbers of poor students. In fact, for the first time, teacher migration rates began to converge in all schools, rich and poor. This finding is not altogether surprising since teachers in high-poverty schools had better working conditions. Other studies have confirmed that when class sizes are lowered, teacher turnover rates fall. Class size reduction narrows the achievement gap. Though many of the corporate-style reformers argue that their preferred priorities of more high-stakes testing, the elimination of teacher tenure, and expansion of charter schools will narrow the achievement gap, there is no evidence to indicate that these policies will work, and, in fact, recent evidence suggests that policies will further cause high-quality teachers to flee from our neediest schools. Instead, researchers have found that reductions in class size that took place nationally in the 1970s and 1980s might account for most of the substantial test score gains among poor and minority students, and the narrowing of the achievement gap that took place over this period. Why? Students from disadvantaged groups experienced 2 to 3 times the average gains from smaller classes than middle-class white students. Many of the most celebrated charter schools that the corporate reforms celebrate cap-size classes at 18 or less. Meanwhile, class sizes in our inner-city public schools continue to grow larger and larger each year. As a recent issue on the achievement gap from the Educational Testing Services points out, schools having higher numbers of minority students tend to have larger classes of 25 students or more, and the class size gap between high minority schools and low minority schools actually worsened between 2000 and 2004. As teachers, we have a moral obligation to provide equal opportunities to all children, especially when we know that class size reduction especially benefits those who need this help most. Class size reduction is, in fact, cost-effective. Many studies have shown that class size reduction yields numerous benefits that outweigh the cost. Students at Princeton have found that the estimated payoff in terms of increased earnings is twice as high as the cost. One reanalysis of the STAR data published in the American Journal of Public Health estimated that reducing class sizes is one of the most cost-effective public health measures society can take, with large servings in healthcare and almost 2 years of additional life for those students who are in smaller classes in early grades. Moreover, it is possible to reduce class size without spending more money by redeploying out-of-classroom staff. A middle school in New Jersey managed to reduce class size and dramatically lower student failure rates at no extra cost. Even if reducing class size is costly, the question should be compared to what? A former president of Harvard once said, "If you think education is expensive, try ignorance." There are only a few reforms we know that have substantial benefits to children and improve their education, health, and life outcomes. Why not invest in these reforms rather than waste billions of dollars on unproven policies with possibly damaging consequences, including the rapid expansion of charter schools, more high-stakes testing, and teacher performance pay. So the next time someone asks you with power or influence what class size reduction is a waste of money, ask him what the evidence base for policies he favors instead. Or ask him what class sizes are in the school his own child attends. Many of the individuals who are driving education policy in this country, including New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, Jeb Bush, and Bill Gates, sent their own children abundantly financed private schools where class sizes were 16 or less. And yet, they continue to insist that resources, equitable funding, and class size don't matter, when all the evidence points to the contrary. Another point, more students equals less individual attention. Parents have spoke out with many important points, such as, if you want teachers to attend to the needs of all students, you have to make it possible for them to work with small groups and individuals. They have to know what each kid can do. They have to be able to spot a child in trouble and step in right away. You just can't do that with 35 kids in class, with no aides and no breaks. Kim McQueen, head of the English department at Kent High School in Washington State, agrees. She says she puts in just as much effort into 5 students as she does 35, but worries about the lack of one-on-one instruction in large classes. She tries very hard to present her lessons in a couple of different ways to anticipate possible questions or misunderstandings so that she can reach more students and then hopefully find the time to wander the classroom and help the students who need individual attention. Standards are much higher now, and classrooms are much more diverse. Of course, some children will survive no matter what the class size, but if we want to provide real opportunities to learn to all children, particularly low-income, minority, and special needs students, class sizes must be kept small as possible. Thank you.